We're going to go ahead and we're going to take a look at the Avatar The Last Airbender trailer, the Netflix live-action adaptation. Now, I mean, I have talked about Avatar The Last Airbender on my streams on many platforms for years. I consider Avatar The Last Airbender to be one of the greatest animated shows of all time. I think it's one of the greatest shows of all time. Doesn't matter what medium it's in or what, genre style. It's just, to me, it's just kind of perfect what they're able to do. It set itself apart from so many of the other Nickelodeon shows that were coming out in the 2000s. Chad, original run was 2005, 2000. I remember when it debuted. Even when I was watching, I was like, this is something different. Like, it wears its influences on its sleeves, obviously. People say it's not anime, but it's very anime-esque. It's practically, American anime. Taking numerous influences, adapting many East Asian cultures to everything from China to Korea, the Imperial Japan, Buddhism, Nepal, and like all of that, and just creating this wonderful fantasy world filled with these amazing characters, these incredibly well-written characters, Chad, of Aang and Katara and Sokka and Prince Zuko and Toph and Azula and Iroh, General Iroh, and so many other wonderful secondary and tertiary characters within this series. And it's just so well-written. It tackled a very adult subject matter and introduced it to children. I think for a lot of kids probably watching that at the time, like that was their first introduction to the idea of war and its consequences and genocide, because, in the original, the subtitle of Avatar is The Last Airbender, where we follow the last airbender, who happens to also be the Avatar, who is this individual who reincarnates after every single lifetime and is able to bend the four elements of the world. And you have these benders able to control it, earth, water, fire, and air. And one day the Fire Nation attacked and just wiped out. And just completely wiped out and committed genocide against an entire people and destroyed the Airbenders, murdered the Airbenders. And it's 100 years later, and the Avatar is returned in this young boy named Aang, who goes on this journey, this adventure with numerous friends, and falls in love with one of his friends, Katara, and then we have Prince Zuko, who is the would-be prince of the Fire Nation, but he's been exiled because something happened in his past, and he needs to capture the Avatar. This is brilliant. I can go on and on and on about this entire show. I could do entire shows about this. I've done podcasts about it. So, there have been attempts to adapt it live action. Did not go particularly well with the M. Night Shyamalan adaptation in 2010. Really affected the franchise for over a decade. Now it's only recovering, I would say, where now there's Paramount has a whole separate Avatar Studios. We're going to be getting more Avatar content, getting an actual sequel, like movies to the original series now. We're going to get a new show. So I'm all jazzed about that. But then there's this Netflix live-action adaptation. Now, I'll be honest, I rather they just make, actual sequels to the show and play around the world with, animated format. But, after coming off of One Piece, that was really good. But at the same time, One Piece had a lot of things going for it. The original creator was heavily involved, and that clearly showed through the show. And this one, the creators were not. They initially were, but they kind of wiped their hands of it. So that has me a little concerned. When you again, Michael DiMartino and Bryan Konietzko were fucked when it came to the M. Night Shyamalan movie. And they even said, we just don't want to talk about it. It was not a good time. And it wasn't. That was their baby, and it was destroyed. So thoroughly destroyed for a decade. And so with this one, I can see why they're a little gun-shy. But, hey, I don't know. I have not seen this trailer. I don't even know what it looks like outside of some stills. So let's go ahead and take a look. I'll come back with my thoughts. You come back with your thoughts, and we'll have a nice conversation. Zozen's Comet.
Time is a funny thing. The past.
Oh, so we're seeing the genocide.
The future. It all gets mixed up. There's only one way to keep it straight. Always remember who you are.
Gyatso talking to me. Oh man, it's crazy to hear the music like this. And she's so much older than him. February, very soon. Very, very soon, Chev. Very early next year. You know, I think it's just because I'm such a huge fan of the original show and I'm so used to like its specific aesthetics. I'm just like, I don't know if my expectations could be ever met. I just gotta like sit down and like watch the actual thing. You know, just like, all right, you know, even with like a trailer, it's like I just don't know. It's certainly just, I mean, aesthetically, definitely is matching more of the original show. I mean, I also appreciate they actually casted, you have Asian people that are playing, you know, the very Asian-centric roles. I mean, you have people, of indigenous people playing Sokka and Katara, which makes sense. You know, the Water Tribe is very much based on Native American, Eskimo, indigenous cultures. So that's what you'd want to do. It shouldn't be two white kids, right? You know, obviously. Aang himself is, I mean, clearly there's influence of Buddhism and Tibetan monks, if you will. There's a lot there. And the Fire Nation's obviously Imperial Japan, right? So, very, very curious to see this. I don't know. I kind of feel mixed. At the same time, I just don't. Inuit, thank you. I just don't know. I'm just like, yeah, I still kind of feel weird about this even happening. I just want to prefer to see, this in animated form, honestly. And I think I'm also just super gun shy too, because the movie was so terrible. I mean, literally, it's one of like the worst movies like ever made. Certainly ever made in my lifetime. So I don't know. But it does look better than the movie. How many episodes is this going to be? Because, okay, like I recognize some of the stuff that they're like clearly, they're also going to show the genocide of the Air Nomads, which they never really showed in the original series. So they're also doing new things, which is interesting. I was like, okay, I'm curious to see how that works. We see Suki, so they're going to be coming like the words of Kyoshi and all that, which makes sense. You want to establish her. But I don't know. I'm not saying it's bad. There's also a lot of clearly like we're using the volume here. I see that. I'm like, but I get it. I mean, Avatar's just this huge fantastical, show. I mean, it'd be incredibly expensive to do this just with, always shooting on location and things. But I don't know. I have very high expectations for when it comes to Avatar Last Airbender content, and I don't know if this can match it, but I'll give it a shot. So we'll see. Not a bad trailer. It's got a lot going for it, but I'm just like, again, I've been wounded so thoroughly that I can't get excited. But what about you guys? What did you think of Netflix's live action Avatar The Last Airbender, the trailer? Let me know. I hope everyone enjoyed the video, and I want to take the time to tell you about my Patreon, Class in the Glass, which offers hundreds of film commentaries and video reactions to numerous movies, TV shows, and cartoons. If you're a fan of shows like Batman the Animated Series and Avatar: The Last Airbender, or films like Aliens and Raiders of the Lost Ark, my Patreon is the platform for you. Currently, I'm doing a subathon to reach 75 subs on the platform. If we hit 75 subs, we'll be able to start voting on the next edited YouTube reaction, which will include actual clips and scenes from the movies and shows I comment over. Choose from such films as Fire and Ice, Masters of the Universe, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers the movie, Mortal Kombat Annihilation, or Spawn. Subscribing at any tier level is appreciated, and feel free to give feedback at any time. Thank you again for watching the video, and see you next time.